burger. I do like this lipstick. It's more of a lip, like, it's a mix between a gloss and a stain. First, let me get dressed. Oh my God, this thing is so holy and I am so sore. Oh my God, I can't even reach behind me, y'all. Is this what it feels like to have muscles? You can't even move your arms. It feels like you got T-Rex arms. That's your width. That's your reach. That's how I feel right now. And I don't know what's gotten into me, but all I could eat. I had to go get dressed, put on shorts. I still haven't made my bed, but I did put up my laundry. And when I get some more people in here, I'm going to tell y'all what went down. Some crazy shit went down. I got a phone call a while ago. You know, it's just too much for people to just let me exist. But, you know, that gives me motivation. It really does. It gives me motivation. So I already have my computer up and everything. I'm just trying to decide I want to start. Oh. Can we begin? I want to begin with this 19-year-old girl and she's not 19, she's 16. Her name is Destiny Renee Bateman. She is from Avondale. I do believe that is in Arizona. I might be wrong. There's probably lots of Avondales around the country. That's just the only one that I know of. First of all, the way that the media writes stuff absolutely dictates how society takes things and in what manner. And hold on, let me fix this. Sorry, I almost forgot, because God knows I think it does help a little bit, even though it could be better. The way that the media writes things dictates how society views it. First of all, we are talking about a 16-year-old victim. I'm going to read this to you. Avondale police issued an advisory on Sunday afternoon regarding a runaway teenage girl suspected of running away from her home to be picked up by her possible 29-year-old boyfriend. First of all, this is a 16-year-old child with a 29-year-old man. At this point, there is a flux of power. This teenager is a dumb. This is how the lines of reality get blurred. Officer Jerry Redford with the Avondale police officer, he said that he responded to the home around 6:14 a.m. where they learned that the 16 Destiny Renee Bateman was missing from her home after being last seen around 1 a.m. Now, I saw her parents speak on the news. They seem devastated that this girl is missing. I can only imagine how scary it is to know that your 16-year-old daughter is with a 29-year-old man. And you know, any man that is willing to kidnap a 16-year-old, because that's what it is, it's kidnap. She is not at the mental capacity to recognize the decisions that she is making. She is still a child. I can promise you that any 29-year-old that is willing to kidnap a 16-year-old he's not taking her for a Happy Meal. So I can assume what is going on between these two. I have no doubt that this girl was willing to go with him. I have no doubt that she's willing to be with him. You're missing the point. There's a 16-year-old child whose frontal cortex, is not developed. She can't be making these decisions. This is exactly why we have laws to prevent this. She might be a runaway, and she might be willing, but she is still a victim. Redford and Bateman is believed to have fled the home, met up with Isaac Martin. He added that the family received a text message from Bateman around 8:50 a.m. saying that the two were traveling to New Mexico and were near the state border. Now, they're looking for this girl. She's 5 feet tall, approximately 110 pounds. And Martin, and it's probably Martin, is described as being a Hispanic man, 5 feet 6 inches and 235 pounds. Once again, I don't care that she ran away willingly. I don't care. This is a victim. This is a missing child who has a family who wants her home safe. It really pisses me off the way that the media writes stuff, because it dictates how society takes it. Due to the fact that they list her as a runaway, due to the fact that they list her as a willing victim, okay, people are not going to be on the lookout for her. Because society has it, oh, she wanted to go with him. No, it's not okay. He's 29, she's 16. It's against the law. He ought to be on a watch list. And I'm sure once they find this son of a bitch, he will be. And he also needs to be charged with assault. Because here's the thing. Just like the prison situation, when you have inmates around officers, we have laws in place for a reason. These people are not in the right frame of mind to be making serious decisions. They're incarcerated. They don't have the legal right to hook up with correctional officers, okay? There's laws against it for a reason. There was another girl that was missing over the weekend, a 19-year-old girl from Farmington, Utah. They found her body. A young woman who went missing this weekend was found dead in the mountains above Farmington. Mia Costo, 19, was reported missing by her family around 12:40 p.m. on Saturday. She was last seen leaving her apartment in Farmington the day before the report. Now, they put missing posters, missing flyers. They didn't know where she went. Her family was searching frantically for her. They went to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department began a search. Her body was found Sunday afternoon around 3 p.m. in the area of Rudd Creek above the city. The multi-agency search consisted of tracking dogs, drones, helicopters, the Davison County Search and Rescue Team, and other investigative resources. As of Sunday evening, police did not have any indication of how she died. The cops have also said that there did not appear to be any foul play. So it's really weird. It's really weird. How do you get from your apartment to the woods and die? It's sketchy, and that's it. That's all the media has to say. I can't even find a picture of the girl. Oh, here she is. So this was Mia, and he shouldn't be hard to spot. He's built by a bowling ball. Thank you, surfboard. I needed that. This was Mia, and she was the one that went missing in Davison County, Salt Lake City. I mean, 19, y'all, that's still a baby. Do you know what I was doing at 19? I didn't even know what day was up, and if I needed to drink water or if I needed to sleep. Like, when I was that age, I was just living on hopes and dreams, So it's just sad to see her. I mean, I'm sure her family is super upset. So, given the circumstances of my recent stalker situations, when I saw this next story in the news this morning, I said, oh, wow, so it's not just me that's dealing with this. Like, when I see these stories, they make me feel not so alone. I don't think that I've really verbalized for you guys how bad the stalker situation is. Part of the reason is that I've noticed when I talk about these things, it makes them worse. So I have refrained from talking about any of my stalkers, any of the people that are cyber stalking me, the people that are gang stalking me, the people that are trying to cyber bully me. I want you to know that whatever you see online, you can times that by 1,000, and that's what I have to deal with in my daily life. This poor girl in Phoenix. Let's talk about this, because she's dead. She was found with a single gunshot wound to the head next to her stalker, who was also dead. It just upsets me because this poor girl had been going through this. Like, she had been to the cops, to everyone asking for help, and no one believed her. And this man hunted her down and killed her. A newly released report details what led up to a Valley woman's death after her body was found next to the body of her alleged stalker inside of a car in Phoenix in a steakhouse parking lot. According to the report, the medical examiner said that the 25-year-old Doris Aguilar died from a gunshot wound to the head. Her death was ruled a homicide. Aguilar was last seen on July 1st and reported missing the following day. The report says that 51-year-old Jawan Schualler, a man who reportedly killed her, was a Lyft driver who lived in his car and was known to park at the Longhorn Steakhouse parking lot near the 75th Avenue and Encanto Boulevard. Officials says that a friend who repeatedly checked Juan, I just can't say it again, went to the parking lot on July 3rd to bring him food. There he found Juan and Aguilar inside of the vehicle. He believed that they were sleeping, left without disturbing them. However, when he returned 4 days later, on July 7th, he found them in the same position and called 911. That's when he realized that both of them were actually dead. First of all, how does two dead bodies sit in a parking lot for almost a week without anyone noticing? I can't even do my makeup without having 100 people drive by bothering me. How does two dead bodies sit in a car for a week and nobody knows? So the EMS showed up and they actually declared both of them dead at the scene. A firearm was located in his lap, and authorities say that he took his own life. Investigators believe that the body's been in the car for several days, and I read another report. They believe that it was actually a week. This was her. She was gorgeous. She was a bodybuilder like me. She was into fitness. And she had went to everyone talking about the stalking, online bullying, the online harassment that she was facing, and investigators didn't listen. They said, you know what they said? The same thing they told. Oh, that 50-year-old man ain't gonna do nothing. Family members reported Aguilar missing on July 2nd after she was last seen leaving her home. Her phone was turned off and her car was found outside of a shopping center in Central Phoenix. The report says that most of her belongings were inside the vehicle except for her cell phone and car keys. Surveillance video shows her arriving at the mall parking lot on the evening of July 1st and getting into Juan's vehicle before the two drove away. During the investigation, authorities found a notebook inside the vehicle which appeared to be Juan's handwriting notes about Aguilar, detailing his feelings for her. And when I tell you guys that these writings were so creepy, I've read them. He says that it was an accident. He was in love with her. He couldn't help himself. He was out of control. He was obsessed. He needed her. He wanted to marry her. He wanted to be with her. Quote, it was an accident. I had my gun on the side of the chair and she picked it up. She didn't know that the safety was off. I went to grab the gun and it went off. I panicked and left. I know that it's going to be my fault no matter what. I couldn't bear to live without her in my life. So I went also to see if I could find her. I have a big heart and she has it always. First of all, what do I tell you guys? When suspects like this speak, they tell you what they're thinking. First of all, he does not start with, he doesn't start with, I couldn't bear to be without her. He says that though. He says, I couldn't bear to be without her. Now that's the truth. He killed her because he couldn't bear to be without her. This was a Glock. For those that don't know, Glocks don't have safeties. Yeah, fun fact. So the fact that he is stating that she didn't know the safety was off is complete bullshit because there was no safety on the gun to start with. So this accidental shooting scene that he is trying to set is false. It's a false narrative that is actually scientifically impossible. He shot her. He told us, I quote, I couldn't bear to be without her in my life, end quote. He told us why he killed her in his final statement in this notebook. There was more notebook than that. I just want to say that this guy was past obsessive, that he needed to be in a mental hospital locked down, okay? I just want to be clear. He had been stalking her for a long time. He goes on to say that in the book, he says that he does not, quote, did not want her to be dirty. The entry then reads, quote, I hope she can forgive me. Please tell my family that it was an accident. Also my kids, please, I'm sorry. So he's getting his story straight. He knew he was going to kill her. He knew he was going to kill himself. He wouldn't have killed her without killing himself. These journal entries that were in this notebook dated back for weeks, months. This was not, he saw her and got obsessed in one day. This was something that this girl had been dealing with for a very long time. No one would listen to her. No one would help her. The police told her she was crazy. So a private investigator working for the Aguilar's family, smart move, always get a private investigator, because the cops don't know how to do their jobs. A private investigator for the Aguilar's family previously told Arizona's family that evidence suggests that she was actually killed at a different location and placed in the car, staged to make it look like she killed herself by an accidental shooting. But once again, when they found the 2 dead bodies, they found the gun in his lap. So, you know what I mean? He was the last one to use it, and probably the first and only, in my opinion. So it said family members said that Juan actually had a history of stalking Aguilar, and that the two had worked together in the same building until he was fired about a year before. Now, I wonder if that stems from the stalking, sexual harassment in the workplace. We won't know anything until more details come out. This is literally the best that we have right now. I mean, it's scary. It's scary. Very scary. Speaking of scary, I got a call this afternoon from my bail bondsman. Apparently some guy who's an idiot enough to actually call from his actual cell phone, caller ID name come up on my bail bondsman caller ID. So she told me, your name, sir. I know exactly who you are. Apparently he called my bail bondsman to tell her that I'm in Florida. I mean, what'd you think she was going to do? Lock me up? You think I don't have serious conversations with everybody that I have serious dealings with? Thank God I have a good bondsman. Thank God she understands that I don't even know how many stalkers. I thought that it was like 5 or 6, and then I find out it's 30, and then I got to jail and it's 50, and then I get a list of 20 more, and now it's up to 80, and those are just the ones that I know about. Those are the ones that I know about. I mean, how pathetic. Do you know I, once again, never went out of my way to call and snitch on somebody because I have a life. But once again, like Plaz says, if you ain't got haters, you ain't popping, bitch. All right. I just wanted to be clear. And you know what sucks? What if, I'm literally stranded here because I don't have any money. I had just enough money to get down here. I plan to stay for a month, until I have court again. I'm just trying to stay out of North Carolina so I can stay out of trouble, because it's clear to me that they have my blood and that they're vampires and that want to drain the life out of, me because I'm good. And I know that they're evil, and I talk too much about the corrupt cops. So what if she would have demanded for me to head back to North Carolina right now? I would have been fucked. I don't have the money. I have $7 to my name. It took me $30 to wash laundry this morning. $26.70 to withdraw $20 out of the freaking, whatever it's called, cash points. I was not expecting that. And I didn't even do all my laundry. I still have another bag back there that I accidentally saw when I was getting dressed a while ago. I said, shit, wasn't all of it, was it? Oops. I mean, I do have, quarters left over from that $20 bill. Don't get me wrong, but it's just, I like to keep a reserve of $150, $200 in case I get a flat tire, in case my battery dies. It's $80 just to get a tow truck out there to jump you off, to have groceries, So it really sucks that yet again, I have another stalker interjecting themselves into my personal life and calling my bail's bondsman, telling them that I'm interstate. Once again, thank God that the woman that I have as a bondsman, she's amazing. At this point, I would give her a 10 out of 10. Not only is she kind, but she gets it. You can tell that she's been through some things in life. She gets it. As soon as I said, I think that I have around 100 stalkers, and I'm literally running from weirdos in society. She was like, oh, that makes sense. I was like, yeah, I've had around, X amount of million people see my channel. For some reason, people just can't handle truth. It's so funny because she started to say something about politics. She says, the right and the left, they're just all wrong. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Because she is. Just like Trump doesn't mean that he's perfect. It doesn't mean that he's going to get in there and make change. We're hoping that he is. I think that he will. But in a sense, she is absolutely right. Republicans and Democrats are wrong, and they have been for years. Something that I hit her with when she said that was, and she says, you can't go around talking about politics no more. I said, yeah, I know. I said, ain't that crazy? I said, back in the day, we could. Democrats and Republicans got along. We were friends. It wasn't a big deal. I told her that. I said, it's not like that anymore. You're right. You have to be careful who you talk to, because people are crazy. People can't have simple conversations anymore. They lack the skills to even communicate. So no surprise that they don't want to sit down and have a serious conversation about children transitioning, about the dangers, about the truth. We're going to jump into that in a minute. We're going to listen to Jordan talk about it. So I want to talk about this New York mother up in Niagara Falls, you guys. If you have not heard about this story, it just happened this afternoon. There was a mother that went to Niagara Falls with her children. I want to start off by saying, typically, if I didn't know the details of this case, I would say, what an evil mother, what a child abuser, what a horrible freaking parent. But I do think that there are mitigating circumstances to this case. This woman had just had a baby. She was 5 months go undiagnosed with postpartum depression, and they don't even recognize that. I'm getting chill bumps because it's heartbreaking. A lot of this is for me because I see young women who don't have situations with their backs against the wall, not receiving the proper medical treatment, mental health treatment, assistance. This was a mother with 2 children, and she intentionally jumped to her death with the children in tow off of Niagara Falls yesterday. She took both of the children into the water with her. She deliberately jumped the children, and they still have not found their bodies. They do presume all 3 to be dead. So it says state police said Thursday that they reviewed security footage of the Luna Park, a small area near the crest of the falls. They were unable to confirm the sequence of events of the fatal. They were able to confirm the sequence of events to the fatal plunge. And y'all, when I saw this woman, I said, oh my God, she could have been a supermodel. Like, it's just, she's gorgeous. Why is she giving me Nikki vibes? Thank you so much, Surfboard. I appreciate that so much. She's just gorgeous. So her name was Shanti Means. I hope I'm saying that right. She was 33, and she had a 5-month-old and a 9-year-old. Oh, sorry. I had to come back eventually. Thank you again, Surfboard. I hope I'm saying that right. Yeah, I make a sometimes. Oh no, I'm on the phone. I'm working. No, see, this is. I know he don't mean nothing wrong. He's probably homeless and think I got money because I got a computer. Honey, I'm poorer than you are. Trust me. I can promise you. Like, I don't even have the truck on because it's so damn hot. Like, look. Money. It takes $70 to fill the son of a bitch up. You know, you do the best you can when you can. I've been using state parks. That's costing me $8 a day just in the park. That's not including the gas to get there and the gas to get back because it's a 45-minute drive one way. It's been the only option, you know. You do what you can when you can. Whew, I'm going to stop sweating for it. Beautiful mother. Beautiful mother. I mean, it's absolutely senseless. And it says, quote, Shanti Means reportedly threw her children over the railing into Niagara Falls before she jumped. I cannot help the chomps. I mean, it just freaks me out. What was she going through? I don't know either. They ain't told me. The state troopers said that they knew that this was intentional. Apparently there were witnesses, but the state troopers will not release what the witnesses have said. I wonder if they've gotten on Facebook and started talking about it. That's where all the nosy people go. They go to Facebook. You know what I mean? I bet there's something on Facebook about what people say. It says state and park police officers were called to Goat Island on Monday at 9:30 p.m. after eyewitnesses called to report that they saw a woman go over the falls with her children. Shanti climbed over a 4-foot guardrail Monday night at Luna Island to get to her place from which she would lead her children to their demise. Y'all, look at this waterfall. Jesus freaking Christ, man. I would hope that people would, I would hope that the shock of actually going over that would make you go unconscious before you hit water. That's my prayer for them. You know what I mean? I want to be clear. A fall like that could probably kill you on impact. It says investigators have no update or motive behind the reason. Like there's no motive. And they have not said whether or not, now they are investigating whether or not this was a mental health crisis or a mental health disorder, but they haven't confirmed it. It's just sad because she was so pretty. And like, to just have a baby 5 months ago, like, girl, looks so good, first of all. Second of all, y'all, if it takes me a month to come off of Suboxone, imagine how long it takes a new mother to feel like herself again after giving birth. First of all, we don't give these mothers enough pay time leave. Okay, first of all, the military be giving people 6 months. Why do we not do that for all women that are giving birth? Second of all, the man absolutely, whoever the father is, should absolutely get pay time with the mother at home to help assist in the care of that child when they come home from the hospital. Men and women ought to be mandatory. I don't know. I just don't feel like 4 weeks, 6 weeks is enough. I just don't. I feel like, women's research, we are way behind on women's research when it comes to women's health, postpartum depression, things like PCOS, things like PMDD. We don't even talk about these things. Cervical cancer is like a leading cause of women's death, and we don't even have research and statistics. We are very behind, and one of the reasons is because all of our funding is going to support the transitioning of children. It's really sad. Money is being spent on medical procedures that we know for a fact are not beneficial to transitioning people. Matter of fact, studies show people who transition, if they have any underlying cause, those underlying causes are going to grow tenfold after the surgery. That means if you suffer with depression, anxiety, any of that, it's going to get worse after surgery. But I'm going to let Jordan talk about this because I've talked about this until I'm blue in the face and it's just as if society doesn't believe me. I am so affirmed. This dropped 2 days ago. If you remember, 3 weeks ago, I actually said transitioning children is not only wrong, but it's harmful. And I have a feeling that 30 years from now, we're going to look back on transitioning children like we did lobotomies. Remember when everybody thought that lobotomies were cool and great and the way to help mental health illnesses? And then fast forward 30 years, recognize that it actually mentally retards people and that it was harmful. Remember? Okay. Just wanted to clarify that once again. Oh God, you guys. Kids don't need to make any decision until they're above the age of 25. Are you above the age of 25? You didn't look it. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're brainwashed. Be right back. Another thing that I'm glad that you brought that up. We need to stop putting so much on 18-year-old kids when their brains are not even fully developed. Their femurs, their frontal cortex, their hippocampus, whatever. It's not even fully developed till over 25 years of age. So why is it okay to mutilate 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds? We're about to get into it. Let's see if I can even hear this. Nope. Every time. So if you saw my short this morning, then you know what most of this is. But I want you to hear the medical professionals because there we go. Why shit gotta be different? Why, God? Where is my Bluetooth speaker? Hold on, y'all. I'm sorry. Like, it's like, if I just had $1,000, I wouldn't even have these problems. Seriously. There it is. Hook it up to the computer. I don't even know how this shit works. I got it out of storage. I've got like 4 of these.
Power on. The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.
Okay. Pair new device. Dollar Tree.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Thank you. All right. Let's get this party started. You ready? Listen closely. Perfect.
We talk about 12. We've selected our dirty dozen children's hospitals, and don't quote me on the number, but I believe there's over 6 across the country that are performing this care, these hormones and surgeries. Yeah. And what we realized is that less than 10% of this is actually happening at the children's hospital.
Why? There we go.
So let's talk about. And so, if you want to have
the new lobotomy, I mean, it really
it's worse than lobotomies, I think.
And when we talk of 12, we've selected our dirty dozen children's hospitals, and don't quote me on the number, but I believe there's over 60 children's hospitals across the country that are performing this care, these hormones and surgeries. Yeah. And what we realized is that less than 10% of this is actually happening at the children's hospitals. They're shifting this out into the private surgery centers and out into the community.
Black market.
To try to get the spotlight off of the children's hospitals. So,
right, so it's going underground.
Those. Absolutely.
Right, well, and there's also something else, too, that with regards to the puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones, there's an active movement online to provide black or gray market prescriptions to young people so they can get the cross-sex hormones without having to undergo the interference of the parents who care or the physicians who have enough sense not to do it. So God only knows how extensive this really is. All right, so let's say, what do you have to do to build a penis woman? Well, you have to close up her vagina for starters, which is, I would say, a rather brutal thing to do. And then you have to remove the skin and the flesh of an arm or a leg, which leaves essentially a skin-wrapped bone, like a hideously mutilating procedure.
Hideous.
You know, worn as a badge of pride, let's say, by the children who've been sacrificed to movement. Then they make this tube of flesh that hypothetically constitutes a penis, but has like none of the function thereby, that produces exactly the kinds of terrible complications you would presume. Internal hair growth, that's a fun one. Plus the ever-present, not a risk, but almost certain of infection.
Yeah, Liliana.
And then, of course, the vaginoplasty is the reverse. So the boys are castrated, their penises are inverted.
Where they take a section of the colon.
Oh yeah, there's a wise choice. There's a wise choice. So now you have abdominal surgery to boot and the tissue that you use.
Ew.
Right, and then we're supposed to believe somehow that what you produce as a consequence of this utter butchery, something approximating, let's say, a vagina, a vulva, is utterly preposterous. That's a very, very complex organ, very complex, very sophisticated. And the idea that it's somehow replaced by a surgical wound, and that creation of a surgical wound now means that a man or a boy has been transformed into a girl or a woman, it's a lie in so many dimensions that it's a kind of miracle that I just can't believe we've got here. And your data.
It's very clear that it's a surgical wound because these boys have to maintain that by dilating, inserting larger and larger plastic dildos into these vaginas for hours upon hours, for days and weeks and months. It's a lifelong commitment. And if they don't continue that commitment, the structures start developing, the body rejects
it heals.
This foreign orifice, and they start closing up on them.
Right, or healing.
Thank you.
Healing.
Right, right. Okay, so let's take stock here. Well, it's not happening, and it's actually not rare, right? So you've documented 14,000. 14,000's a lot. We turned the country upside down 5 years ago for lesser crimes, for the black men who were being shot by policemen, let's say, nowhere near those numbers, I can say. And the idea that this is a moral crime of lesser magnitude is the only way you can harbor that delusion is if you've been unwilling to actually look at what's going on. I can see why people don't, because who can believe it? But you documented it, right? And as we said, you've only shone a light on the tip of the iceberg, because you can only get access to a certain number of these surgeries. And so now they are happening, and in the thousands and tens of thousands, right? And not only are they happening, they're super profitable, right? And not only are they happening to minors who cannot provide this kind of informed consent, so that's a violation of the Nuremberg Code as far as I'm concerned. I truly believe these are crimes against humanity. I truly believe that, and that the people who are involved should be tried.
Absolutely insane. I agree, Harley.
The perpetrators of the Nazi horrors were tried at Nuremberg, and I don't think it'll stop till that happens. And you also said, now that you're starting to shine a light on this, they're going underground, which is exactly what you'd expect. So, all right. So,
and I just want to pause here for a second and talk about the ramifications, the long-term ramifications of medical procedures being held underground. Do we not remember all these girls in Miami getting cement and caulk shot in their asses in an attempt to get a BBL for cheat? Imagine that with children. Imagine your going off to their freshman year of high school, and 2 weeks later they're brainwashed and they're in some back alley getting their penis cut off. That's what they're talking about. I just want to be clear, okay? I want to be very clear what they're saying right now. Also, they're talking about hormones and all of the testosterone on the black market. They're saying because of this man's investigation, he's also noticed that now people are getting hormone and testosterone off of the black market, which is highly dangerous. We don't know where these things are coming from. We don't know what country they're coming from. And we're also talking about children. I just need to keep clarifying. We're talking about children. We're talking about children as young as 12.
Who are you, and why shouldn't someone be suspicious of your data, your credibility? Who are these 12,000 people who are involved, and how did the project get going?
Yes, so do you know how I'm started just over 2 years ago? Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, who was a very well-known professor at the University of Pennsylvania, a nephrologist, and involved with the medical school, also an editor of the go-to reference guide for physicians, started to push back on this encroachment of DEI into medical school, into the selection of students and residents and doctors. We had this erosion of meritocracy, that we were no longer selecting, and I again, I'm speaking in the past, but I should be speaking in the present tense, that we have this erosion in medicine of ideology, of skin color and content over merit.
Okay, so let's take that apart a little bit, because skeptical listeners might say, well, merit is just the imaginary constructions of an oppressive patriarchy. Let's say you screen for SATs to let people into medical school, or the MCAT. Okay, the MCATs are basically tests of general cognitive ability. Okay, there's no difference between that and intelligence. And so intelligence isn't merit in relationship to doctors if you think it's okay for doctors to be stupid.
Ooh.
Right. It's as simple as that. And the data on such prediction shows clearly this is the most powerful statistical result in the social sciences. There is nothing that predicts long-term success in complex jobs than general cognitive ability. It predicts 5 times better than the next best predictor, which is conscientiousness, which also these pikers don't assess. And to generate a contrary proclamation, you have to presume that there's no such thing as intelligence, and that intelligence has no bearing on the performance of physicians. So That's preposterous. And then you also have to overlook the fact that cognitive tests themselves were first early used on a broad level by socialists in the UK who believed that if you could screen alienated populations, poorer populations, for general cognitive ability, open the door to their advancement in the school system in the UK, and you could give the deserving poor their opportunity to move upward and benefit society by doing so, which happened. Same thing happened in the armed forces in the United States. So the general cognitive tests were actually a means of social mobility for the very oppressed that the bloody leftists are always clamoring about. Right. And so then the third thing you have to accept if you're going to swallow this DEI nonsense is that if you dance with merit, objectively assessed, then what you get is greater equity. But the historical data show that there are three standard means of providing access to desirable jobs in any society. There's merit, there's dynasty, so family membership starts to become important, and there's nepotism, who you know. That's it, those three. Dispense with merit, you get nepotism and dynasty. Okay, so what does Harvard do to elide this? They use false measures of so-called personality to racially gerrymander their selection criteria. That's that far away from nepotism, right? Because someone in that organization is making a subjective judgment about fit. And as soon as you have subjective judgment instead of objective data, you open the door to corruption and you destroy the universities and the medical system and the psychological training system and then children's lives and then patients' lives, right? So that's where we are. Yeah.
I love that phrase, racially gerrymandering. And we've seen the devastation that this has had on the UCLA Medical School, where the shelf exams, these standardized exams that are taken throughout the course of medical school, their pass rates have just plummeted at UCLA. And they're waving their hands saying, you know, we need to get rid of these shelf exams.
Of course we do. Of course we do. You get rid of merit. Well, look, one of the ways of understanding this practically and psychologically is that this is actually an assault on merit itself. And you might ask yourself, well, who wants to launch an assault on merit? And the answer is people who lack merit, because they can get access to the storehouses of value that were merit defined in the absence of merit, especially if they're in a position to pull the levers of power and decide who gets in and who doesn't. Right, so it's an issue of the merit structure, and the universities are to blame for this. I saw my own psychology department at the University of Toronto.
Jordan is saying that the reason that the medical industry is failing children and children are transitioning, for one, money, and number two, the universities. Now, those universities most of them are left-wing ran universities. In my opinion, this has been a plan. This was a plan for money, just like Big Farm. These children that are being sacrificed like lambs, as he said, it's being done in the name of money. It's just, I can't, like he said, I can't believe that we're here. I can't believe that this is even reality. Once again, we thought lobotomies were cool. We thought that they worked. And then fast 20, 30 years, we find out that we're actually making people mentally retarded by shoving an ice pick in their eye and hitting it into their brain. Think about that, just that, saying that seems like it would be detrimental. Now, let's say aloud, the castration of little boys. Does that not sound just as bad? It's so funny that it's literally labeled, it's the new lobotomy. And I just, 2 weeks ago, we're going to look back on this time, just like new lobotomies. There's another part to this that we might view tomorrow. I would like to get, so just to be honest with you, I had to listen to that times and Google 25 words to even figure out what the conversation was about. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Oh, some of them words. Now you see why I say preposterous so much, because I listen to him too much. That's his favorite. That's his favorite word, I swear. Ah. Lord, it's just so sad. I just feel, when I saw that pop up on my feed last night, I almost went live. I was so excited because it just makes me feel vindicated. It's like, okay, I'm not crazy. Thank you. It is absolutely child abuse to interject hormones and testosterone into children that are confused because of propaganda and politics. This is politics. This is not in the benefit of anyone's child. This is abuse, and this is wrong. And I've been screaming that for over 4 years, and I've been called crazy because I'm the only, one of few normal people left that know that this is harmful. There is no reason, psychologically speaking, from the data that we have collected, we know that this actually does more harm psychologically than good. Not only that, physically speaking, we know that it's more harm than good. What they're discussing in that clip is how this even happened. And it started with the universities. And it has trickled into healthcare. It has trickled into the medical field. Then doctors realized that it was a lot more expensive to charge for a sex change, hormones, gender reconsignment surgery than it was to give talk therapy. The reason that they're trying to outlaw conversion therapy is because talking is part of conversion therapy. Everybody's like, oh, conversion therapy is so bad. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's just, you're not going to make me off of that. An hour of conversion therapy, which is talk therapy, where you sit down with a therapist and talk, that's going to run you what, like $75 to $100? A sex change is $70,000. There's your motive. There's your incentive. This is why children are being butchered, tortured, and killed, okay? Because they are. Children are dying. They said they only have numbers for 14,000, but they think that it's in the hundreds of thousands. That was just data from one hospital. And there's over 60 children's hospitals throughout the United States doing these procedures. But it's not abuse. The last thing I want to talk about that I ran across last night as well that was interesting to me that I've never heard before, this thing called the black sheep. Now, I've heard of being called the black sheep because I've been the black sheep my whole life. Y'all remember I told y'all that my mama used to get me before she'd take me anywhere, and she'd turn around and she'd give me a firm talking to, and she'd say, when we get in here, don't say nothing about this, 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 and this. In a family system theory, the black sheep is often the family member who speaks about the family's deepest conflicts and dysfunctions. No wonder Mama would have these conversations with me, right? Don't be telling Mama all about this, 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 and this. They may be the only one in the family who is telling the truth. The black sheep may be treated differently by their family and others, and may start to act in a way that matches the treatment that they receive. Learning about things like this makes me view my childhood completely differently. This can lead to a self-fulfilling prophecy where the black sheep becomes who their family believed that they were. I told you guys that I was accused of drug use by my parents as early as 10, 12 years old. Because of that, when I finally went on my own, I wanted to try drugs. They had been accused. I mean, every time that I would see family, they would swear that I was high, and I was not. That led me to drug use. Absolutely, 100%. The family may orchestrate or bully the black sheep to keep their own secrets hidden. So it's just, there's a guy that did a stand-up lecture on this, and he talks about psychologically how our upbringings, how growing up in an abusive household where you are able to sit back and recognize the issues, the family dynamics. You can see, maybe you see that your father's an alcoholic and then he beats on your mother, and that your mother doesn't have a relationship with you because she's distant from all of the abuse that she's receiving. That causes the family to be broken, okay? Me personally, my biological father was an alcoholic, which caused extreme issues in the family dynamic. You know, my mother would end up marrying someone who was not emotionally available. He was also highly abusive. He sexually abused me, physically abused everyone in the family. And even as a young child, I could look back, I could stand back and say, if she left him, all of our lives would be better. And I used to wish that she would leave him. She never did. She was with him when she died. But it's crazy how even as a small child, I'm talking 7, 8, in an argument, and I remember hiding under my bed when they would argue, and I remember thinking as a child, why are they together? This is toxic as fuck. Like, this isn't normal. As a child, trying to have a serious conversation about these things in my family is null and void. They won't even, you can even, no. Never could, never would be able to if they were alive. It's one of those things where everybody is in denial about state of the family. Even though over, all of my cousins, some of my siblings, they're all on drugs. They're all in and out of jail. But the family's fine. So first of all, if you were a black sheep growing up, it's probably because you had truth to tell and your family didn't want you telling the truth. Also, it said, I read somewhere else that sometimes the black sheep becomes the black sheep because they see truth and it makes the family hate them and resent them, because this child or teenager can see through adult bullshit, and adults will start resenting the child and labeling the child a problem child, even though what the child actually needs is love, affection, security, safety. I'm speaking from personal experience. So it says the black sheep can work on healing by embracing their power, understanding that it's okay to see, feel, and experience life differently from their family. Also understanding that there is nothing wrong with you. And you have to remember that we are all products of our environment. I think most of us have not had an easy life. I think a lot of us have struggled. A lot of us have been through very deeply traumatic experiences in life, and a lot of people don't deal with that. Recognizing the family's problems is if they can't get on board with who the black sheep is. So the term black sheep is a terminology that describes a family member who is different from the rest. And it says, who is the black sheep? It says the truth teller, one that gets it. So it says, how often have you heard someone describing their family? They're talking about a sibling that was the black sheep, or a family member, or even themselves. Every family has one. The black sheep, the problem child, the rebel, or the underachiever. In truth, I would like to reframe this name to wondrous change agent or truth teller of the family. And I agree, we should. We absolutely should. And in my opinion, I think that the black sheep of the family I think a lot of them have been kicked down their whole lives because they were something that the rest of the family wasn't, and it made the family feel some type of way about themselves. Going back to that, are you happy with you, or are you taking your sadness out on everybody else? People hurt people. So it says, the satire defined in the IP symptoms and SOS regarding his parents' pain and the resulting family imbalance. The member of the family is often the most sensitive and can be compared to the thermometer for the family. And that's how my childhood was. Like, if I was in trouble, then the whole house was in, like, ruckus. Like, it's just sad. I just never knew that, and this is backed by science. This is not just some guy that said, oh, yeah, the black is the truth teller. No, they've done studies on this. This is human psychology. This is basic human psychology that I wish somebody would have told me. Life might have not been so damn hard if I knew that that the reason my own family was after me was because I told their secrets. How about not be shitty? How about not molest children? How about not beat me? And I won't have to go to school and tell everybody. Like, I knew it was wrong from an early. But how about we not, do things like that, and then I won't have to go tell anyone. I don't have to get my ass whooped when I get home for telling the truth, you know? And I just don't. Florida is nice. It's nice. I'm sweating. I believe I'm the black sheep of my family. It's okay, William. Be proud of that. That means you're doing something right. That's what I'm going to say. Like, if somebody tells you that you're the black sheep of the family, be like, hell yeah. Thank God. Thank God. Thank God. Because I could have been one of the abusers. You know what I mean? Most hurt people. That's how it usually happens. So, you know, just be grateful that you was a truth teller and not up in the dysfunction, and you knew that something went wrong. You should be proud of yourself if you're the black sheep, because the only way to bring about real change is to recognize that there's a problem. So when you grow up in an abusive home from an early age, I think I was probably 5 or 6 when I first started having my first memories, and I knew that it was not right. I remember my father telling me he was going to quit drinking, and then I could smell alcohol on him, and I was little enough to pick up. He would carry me, you know? So if I'm little enough to pick up, and you smell like alcohol, and you're already telling me at 5, maybe 4, shit, I don't remember. If you're already telling me around 5, 6, 7, it was probably 4, 5, 6. If you're already telling me that if you're already making promises that you're going to quit drinking, then you have the awareness to know that what you're doing is wrong, you know? And I knew that it wasn't right early on. I never understood why my mom sent me back over there, I guess because she legally had to until he molested me. And, you know, that he went to jail. But, like, then he couldn't see us anymore. But I remember being little and trying to have conversations with my parents, and them just not being, they weren't capable. They weren't capable of talking at all. I don't even know it. I grew up in a very silent, isolating, abusive home. You know, there were no conversations. There were no guidance. There was no, none of that. And that's what children need. Love, affection, attention. And, you know, I've knew this for years, you know, like my upbringing, I knew how it impacted me. And so I tried to raise my daughter in a situation that was opposite of mine. And so I've always focused on her development, early childhood development. And, you know, you get her around other kids and you could see that she was thriving. So that's probably what I should have done, is do something in social work. But, you know, it's not lucrative. It's not a happy business. It's not something that you can step into and not be part of the corruption. For DHS, you are part of the problem. It's unfortunate. I understand you need a job. But I just want you to know that regardless, if it's the government, they're on their own team. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to come off of that Suboxone and be able to start like on a whole new healing journey and addressing everything that I have concerns of, psychologically speaking. On the medication, I felt like I was clean. But now, 3 weeks later, I don't know. No. Like, I mean, I'm still clean off of heroin, so I count my clean time. But when it comes to Suboxone, I would discourage anyone from taking it. I discourage anyone from taking it. I don't think it's a beneficial drug. I think that it's a drug used to control, collect data, and keep up with drug addicts. It's the government's way of regulating heroin, in my opinion. And that's how I got it 3 weeks off of the medication. And to know that they're giving it to inmates that are sober is just heartbreaking. That's when you see positive change in recovery. You don't get inmates clean and then give them heroin before they go back out to the streets. It's just crazy. One girl told me she never even done heroin. She was a meth head. And she said that when she went to prison, if she joined the MAT program, which is it's a maintenance program for Suboxone, she said if you join the MAT program, it cuts time off your sentence, and they give you Suboxone on the campus of the prison. She never even done heroin before. You know what happened? She left prison and got sick as hell. Like, she left prison with a prescription of Suboxone and then tried to come off the Suboxone and got sick as fuck. She ended up back in the county jail. She said this was my cellmate, and Britt, And she said that she ended up back in the county jail. She said that she was so sick that she laid sick for a week. And she said she swore she'd never go back to dope, Suboxone. And so that's why she's been on meth since. I really hope she goes to rehab. Florida. Britt, if you see this, I love you. I'm sorry I ain't sent you no money. I ain't got no money. I'm like so fucking broke. And seriously, I better cut this shit off before I damn run out of gas. I told her I was going to put some money on her books, but I had it. I've got bills coming up. My insurance is due tomorrow. So, you know, you do what you can when you can. And you don't complain, you know. But it's just wild to me that it's not. I'm not even surprised anymore. With all the stalker bullshit that I've gone through, it doesn't even surprise me that somebody tried to call my Bill's bondsman. I'm just glad that she's cool and that I explained everything to her and that she understands what it's like to be a woman. Because I had done told her, you know, you have to put your career down on your bond paper. When you get bonded out, it's not an easy process. You would think that, you know, somebody could just show up to the jail with some money and then they get you out. No. Hell no. You got to go through like 4 hoops, caution tape, 6 people. You might have to hand over some DNA, some land, your social security number, a car, and cash. So anyway, she's, when she got me out, I signed my paperwork and I said, you know, this is my channel. This is what I do for YouTube. I was kind of scared because, yeah, anyways, but I was scared that she would go see my content and feel butthurt. Because, you know, so many people, they take things personal. Once again, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. So she was really cool. She said, hey, I had this guy call me. Do you want his name? I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, his name is so-and-so. I said, ooh, interesting. Who's this? She said, I don't know. She said, he called to snitch on you. I said, did he? What'd he say? She says, he says you're in Florida. I said, yeah, I am. She's okay. She's like, next time, just let me know. Da-da-da-da-da. I was like, okay. I said, I should have called you to court. I'm so sorry. I should have. That's something you need to do. You know, and it's weird because I worked with the same bondsman for 15 years, Michael Scriven out of Winston-Salem, who is now a sheriff's son. Me and Michael go way back. You know, he'd come get me on the drop of a hat. And this is when I was actually living a life of crime, back when I was 18. And, you know, I made a $250,000 bond before. Never had any issues with Michael. And then this go around, like I said, he's no longer a bondsman. And it's been 2016 since I've been in 2018 since I've been in any legal trouble. So it's been a minute. And I don't know no bondsman. Like, I'm used to, like, putting land up and getting out. So I didn't even know what to do. And I kind of am glad that things worked out the way that they did, because it gave me time to process what I was going through. It gave me time to really experience the in the jail so that I could live to tell it. It gave me the opportunity to clear my mind, even though I was coming off of heroin, essentially. I just want to be clear that Suboxone is a partial agonistic that acts as heroin brain. It is heroin. It is heroin. It's government-issued heroin. So, you know, I needed that time, that 6 days that I was in jail. That's the longest time I've ever spent in a county jail, I do believe. But I'm glad that I accepted it. Talked to God about it, went to God with my concerns, and things worked out. Ultimately, the biggest silver lining in the whole situation is the fact that I'm now off Suboxone. So I do think that it psychologically impacts your life. It holds you back. It holds you back, absolutely. Not only that, but feeling-wise, you're not even the same body temperature on that medication. That's the first thing that is that I don't have these regulatory temperature issues in my body. Not only that, I have more motivation. I have clarity. I can think clearer. I can remember things. That's another thing. I've got memory, y'all. I said, how did I remember to do that today? Typically, I'd forget that. It's like my memory is coming back. I mean, it is heroin, Brooke. I want to speak highly of the medication, but it helped me. And I think that it can be beneficial for some people. But not everybody has the strength. that I chose to get clean. Not everybody has the initiative, and that's the problem. I think Suboxone is great for people who want to get clean. It is set in stone, and they see no other way of life other than getting clean. Do you get what I'm saying? No addicts are like that. Most people don't wake up with the strength that I have. It's God. It's God. I asked God to be the strength to get myself clean, and he did. He did 4.5 years ago, and then when I had to come off the Suboxone, same thing. This doing okay, well, can you help me out, because I'm about to be sick and I'm scared, and and it wasn't that bad. Like, I really thought that it was going to be just as bad as coming off of heroin, but it was not. And I do think that has a lot to do with how I dose down. I really probably should be working in the medical field as far as addiction therapy, and absolutely, but I can't help people in that way. That's not what I'm meant to do. And the same goes with social work. I can't be in either one of those spectrums, because the medical field is so muddled with BS that the stuff that I would have to witness every day is so unethical that I have a job. I wouldn't have a job. And, I'm speaking from personal experience dealing with these doctors to get Suboxone. I'm speaking from personal experience in rehab. I'm speaking from personal experience in mental health institutions. Y'all know I checked myself in somewhere last year at UNC Chapel Hill. Worst experience of my life. That place needs to be shut down. But all of this is, like, seriously, I could probably help a lot of people. Just being able to help people give strength to themselves and helping them physically figure out what they need to do while coming off of heroin and or Suboxone. But I need to do that in a private setting, because the medical industry nowadays is a joke. It's a joke. If you've wondered why the drug issues have gotten worse, if you've wondered why your medical care has gotten worse, it's because the money and the focus is on transition kids. 60 hospitals, let's not forget, 60. But the media and the left will have you out here believing that it's not happening. Who you gonna believe? The media or Jordan Peterson? I'm believing Jordan. And I've been saying what he just said in that video for 4 years. I'm just glad that there's finally doctors who are saying, not scared of losing their medical license, because that's what's happening. Doctors speak out against the transitioning, the psychological impact, and early childhood development, like what this does to children. Their license are being ripped from them. They're being pinned up on false charges, just like they tried to do that to Jordan. They tried to rip his license away to practice medicine, because he said that there was boys and there was girls and there was no in between. That's what happens when you speak out against the woke mob. And the same thing goes for every other industry that's out here. Everybody has their side. Whose team are you on? It doesn't matter if it's a Wendy's or a women's hospital. Do you get it? Like, people have lost it. And it's sad, but I'm just glad that I'm at where I'm at right now. I'm glad that my bellsman was cool. She seems like a really nice lady. Seems like she has been through some stuff in life. Like, just hearing her talk and the way that she is relatable. I appreciate how good conversations. And she even told me, she's like, keep your head up. You need to stay focused on good stuff. I'm like, thank you so much. Like, I could cry. Nobody ever says nice shit to me. Like, I love that, So thank you to the asshole. I know who you are, by the way. Thank you to the asshole that called her. And next time, don't use your phone, because it leaves your caller ID. Yeah, some people still have those. Specific businesses like Bell's Bondsman's. Yeah. Yeah, you're an idiot, aren't you? Or is that your daddy's name? Because I was thinking, that sounds like an older guy's name. It might be your daddy's name. It's probably some little punk that mom and daddy pays his cell phone. He ain't even got his own line. Oh, it's his daddy's name, or probably his grandpa's, Anybody that act like that probably didn't grow up with a father. That's the problem in society, right? That's why I'm here. Like, imagine Monday morning calling some girl you don't even know's bondsman, saying she's in Florida when she's supposed to be in North Carolina, trying to get her locked up. God. Yeah, so going back, so there was this rumor, if I talk like some drama. So there was this, so Michaela Peterson, Jordan Peterson's daughter, his pride and joy, okay? First of all, I wish she'd stop messing with her damn face, because I watched a podcast a while ago and she looks crazy. Gotten so much filler in her chin that it's literally dropping down, and her nose has split out from the filler and Botox. Michaela, you are beautiful, babe. Anyways, there's a rumor that, and she admitted it on a podcast, that she flew over and hung out with Andrew Tate. Listen, whether or not they hooked up ain't nobody's fucking business. This is what's wrong with the internet. Y'all too fucking nosy. It ain't no business of anybody happen with them. I honestly don't think she slept with him. That's just my belief. Michaela is a good girl with a good on her shoulders. I think that it was a publicity opportunity. She knew that it was going to bring millions of viewers to her channel. Once again, any publicity is better than none when you're in this line of work. So you're going to have to listen to the negativity. This is something that I'm learning to deal with, and I think I'm doing a pretty damn good job. I haven't killed anybody yet. I do believe that Kayla is a good girl with high self. Well, I don't know, man. That face stuff, her messing with her face, that I was about to say, I think she has high self-worth, but not true. Something's definitely going on with her. I don't know if it's a generational thing. All of these young girls feeling like they have to mess with their face. I just want to say that it makes you look 10 years older when you start doing that. I am at the age that you start getting cosmetic surgery. These are preventatives. These are not preservatives. Okay? You go and get Botox when you have wrinkles, babe. Like that. You don't get it before you even have wrinkles. That's going to make older. I feel bad for these young girls that have become part of this system, because once again, about money. Cosmetics procedures, if y'all want to talk about those one day, just rhinoplasties alone is $1 billion industry every year. That's not including boob enhancements, BBLs, all of these things that women are getting done. I mean, I saw a picture of Cardi B the other day. She looks absolutely crazy. She got another hip. We might need to talk some about that. If y'all want to talk about that, let me know in the comments, because I do like the medical stuff. But Michaela, I don't believe that she's him. That's just my personal belief, but it ain't nobody's business. I just don't see her being that type of girl. She's also married. So, ain't she? I think married. Or she's engaged. And his name's Jordan too. That's right. Yeah. So I think that it was about publicity. I think that she was just starting her podcast at the time. For those that don't know, I've been watching her for a year. This was me 6 months after she started her podcast. So I just think that it had to do with publicity, in my opinion. I think she wanted to go to Romania and see him. And, it's no secret that these people run in the same circles too. So they have a lot of the same friends and associates and business partners, and so that's kind of what people don't see behind the scenes, what you don't see in Hollywood, what you don't know. But I don't think that Michaela is like that. That's just my belief. But once again, it ain't nobody's business. But I do remember that everybody was roasting her, and then he made it even worse, because he went on somebody's podcast and was like hinting at the fact that they might have hooked up. And I was like, see, this is why you can't hang out with motherfuckers. They just fake as hell. He didn't say no, but he didn't say yes. And it's like, okay, first of all, you wouldn't catch me dead hanging out with him. Second of all, I don't think I initially had his back for the assault charges. I said that there needs to be concrete evidence to support that he was picking people. Recently, I've listened to him, and I do not think that he's a positive influence on young men and little boys. I think that he's actually a horrible guidance person for young people. Now, are we talking about 40-year-old men? That might be different. But anyone under the age of 25 should not be listening to Tate, period. It's one of those things. It's like discretion. Okay. We used to have those on album covers. We need those on podcasts nowadays, because some of the stuff that he said can be taken out of context to mean else. And he said some controversial shit, but what made him popular? Now, do I like to listen to him in small doses? Not necessarily, but I can tolerate it. You know what I mean? I think that he has a lot of valid points, but I think that 2024 is a year of truth. So we're going to see what happens. We're going to see what happens. I do think that the cops in Romania want to destroy him because of jealousy, just like Peanut and Fred and Mark. So, speaking of Peanut, the squirrel that was euthanized in New York, and Fred, the raccoon, I saw this morning on the TMZ or whatever that lawyers have already come to bat for Mark and his wife, and they're actually going to be suing the New York for violating their constitutional rights. So, good for them. I wish I had a lawyer come out of the fucking woodworks. Yeah. I still can't believe that they did that. But going back to Andrew, I do believe, like I've said before, once the government has a taste of your blood, they're going to come after your throat. And I do feel like Andrew and his brother have been a victim of that. Absolutely. I do believe that Romania is known to have corrupt cops. You can pay them off. It's no secret that they're dirty over there. It's no secret that they have a broken judicial system. And I have no doubt that the Tate brothers have been treated misfairly because of their celebrity stardom, you know, like the fact that they're stars. I have no doubt. I think that the Tate brothers, I think that they tried to forge their own path. So for those that don't know, let's just talk about it. So the Tate brothers started talking to girls all around the world with the hopes of importing those girls to Romania to work for a webcam service. Some of these women have come out, 6 or 7 of them allegedly, come out stating that they were coerced and forced into sex trafficking, essentially. I believe that there are truths to both sides of the story. I believe that Andrew and his brother Tristan thought that they could make a quick lick, import girls, and live in a beautiful mansion, and that these girls would willingly work webcamming and escorting. And I think that it blew up in their face. And this is what I say when I say, do not go into any endeavors with dirty ass hands. You can't do that. They went into an endeavor that was dirty as fuck. Okay, be honest, it's a sin. It's a sin. It's wrong. They went into this endeavor. They imported girls from all over the freaking world, and then they worked them on webcamming sites and elsewhere, allegedly. And, you know, it's not okay. They should have taken their entrepreneur ways and turned it into something positive, not an OnlyFans Tate site. You know what I mean? This is what you can't go through life doing bad shit expecting to be rewarded. Of course they were arrested. It's wrong. I don't care if the girls are willing or not. It's wrong. I do believe that the fact that they have power and money and a social media following made things worse for them. You know, they've executed dozens of search warrants on these brothers. Dozens. Imagine getting woke up every other day because the cops are out there with a SWAT team ready to search your house yet again. We're talking about over a dozen. Over a dozen. I don't believe that that is fair. I don't believe that's right. You know, if you've never been through that, oh, God. I've had my door kicked in. You know, I've been surrounded fucking SWAT with guns in my faces. If you've never been through that, then you can't quite understand how detrimental that is to your spirit, your home life, psychologically speaking going forward, how that can cause PTSD, and y'all know I hate cops. Why do you think? You know, but I truly believe that all of that could have been avoided if they would have used their entrepreneur ways for something good and to get laid and make money off of girls who are already economically poor. These are not girls that come from countries that, you know, they was living a life of luxury, honey. These were girls that were from impoverished backgrounds, that location, okay? The same type of victims that I talk about on here a daily basis, you know, girls that were previously molested and coerced and conditioned early on to be creatures, okay? It's just wrong. It's wrong. I don't think they're bad guys. I think that we're going to see them, hopefully, develop as men and continue to develop as men and grow. You know, look back on Rogan 10 years ago. Look how far he's came just in 10 years. The man has grew a whole new damn tree. Jordan too. You know, so, you know, people go through things in life. They grow. They make mistakes. They learn from them. They're supposed to. And they develop a sense of self through trial and error. And I think that the Tate brothers are still young and they're still doing that. So am I. I don't know why everyone thinks that just because I'm 36, I'm supposed to have everything figured out. Bitch, I didn't even start going up till 32. I turned 18 when I was 32. I was on drugs. You stop developing. You learning. You stop. So when you start doing drugs and you stop, whatever age you started is what age you are when you stop, psychologically speaking. If you start drugs at 18 and then you stop at 30 like I did, bitch, 18-year-old in a 30-year-old body, psychologically speaking. You get it? So, excuse me for living my life and turning like 20 today. I don't all figured out. I'm getting there. And I think the Tate brothers are the same, you know? I think you make it past 32, you get to your 30s and you start to realize, oh, whoa, we're just getting started. We're just getting started. I got a good 60, 70, 80 years left in me. We're just getting started. So I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of how far I've came. And I truly just want other people to be happy. I want others to be happy. I want to help others. I just don't know how I'm going to do it yet. I'm still on the fence about what I want to do. I don't know. One thing I'm not doing is taking out student loans. You know, that's something I've been talking about for 6 months now. Well, actually about a year. I had the opportunity to go to Florida State at Jacksonville, and I didn't want to take out a $58,000 loan. And also, at the same time, I was like, well, how am I going to support myself through school? Because financial aid and this loan only goes so far. So how am I going to financially support getting to school every day, gas-wise? You know, stuff like that. Just eating and surviving. I'm glad that I didn't take out the now, because I don't foresee me going back to school anytime soon. Until the education system changes, collapses, or is I could not function in a school, and they're all liberal brainwashed kids. I think that it would cause more problems for me than it would be benefit. You know, if I'm going to do something, it's going to be online, like I have been doing. My online Harvard classes, those are easy breezy. I learned so much that, y'all, the reason I was talking about the slavery the other day was because I read something in that history lesson talking about how Republicans were started to end slavery, and I did not know that. And what's crazy is, I swear to God, my phone be listening to my conversations, because it was the very next day I saw a picture that was from, I think, Mississippi, where they initially started the Republican Party. It was a bunch of anti-activist slavery. They were spreading slavery to all of the United States. They were actually in opposition of the Democratic Party getting more slaves. The Democratic Party wanted to expand slavery all over the United States. Regulate it. You know? Make more money off of it. And a bunch of anti-slavery activists, who most of which were black themselves, they got together and they said, absolutely not. We're going to help Abraham and Lincoln get in the office, and then we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. And that's what they did. It was because of Lincoln and these anti-slavery activists that the Republican Party was even started. And Lincoln was the first Republican president. He won that presidency, and he ended slavery. What the hell did they teach in school? Because I don't remember learning none of that. None of it. None of it. I remember learning about the Trail of Tears, the Indians, colonization. But like World War I, II, all them other wars, It's like I skipped all of that. Vietnam War. I don't even know why that started. We're going to learn all of this stuff in the upcoming weeks because this is what interests me. History, medical industry, and the same stuff that's always interested me. News, politics. But I want to learn more about history of the United States and both political parties and how they've changed over the years. I love that stuff. Love it, love it, love it. I've loved history. It's always been one of my favorite subjects. So that's why it blows my mind that I didn't know that the Republican Party was started to end slavery. Ain't it crazy, though? Now they out here calling us racist. The irony, masses. No, you know what it is? It's my accent. They're like, oh, she would come off somebody's farm. No, bitch. Surprise, surprise. I grew up in a black family. I just got my accent from my original family before I was drafted to my family. You know what I mean? And it still comes out. You can tell I was raised in a city school at times. But, you know, I wouldn't change it for anything because I got the best of both worlds, in my opinion. I did. I got all of the good part of all of the people that raised me, in my opinion. So, I'm grateful. Another day to be grateful. I gotta go find me some food, y'all. I thought about getting a Happy Meal, but honestly, it'll probably make me sick since I've been on a clean diet. I don't know what I'm gonna get. Congratulations, Scott. It's proud of. We didn't learn about the Holocaust or World War II at all. Yeah, I know. Me neither. Me neither. Oh, no, I did learn about the Holocaust and Anne Frank. Y'all remember that? She hid in the cupboard. Speaking of Holocaust, can y'all believe that old man died from listeria? He was a Holocaust survivor. He had left a concentration camp and come to the United States. Fast forward 70 years, he dies from listeria, from meat, bad meat. Imagine surviving Hitler. And you come to America. I mean, at least he did have a good 60 years here, I do believe, 60, 70. He was a child. There was pictures of him in a concentration camp in his daddy's arms. It's heartbreaking. They were so skinny. It looked like they could drop dead at any moment from starvation. And he survived and come to America and he lived a full life. He had a full family, grandkids, great-grandkids, a wife. And he eats some bad meat from boar's head and from listeria. I mean, just imagine making it through all that. You come to America for a better life and you're taken out by some bad meat. Because Americans don't know how to be cleanly in the meat pack plant. Remember all them violations we read about? It was nasty up in there. And boar's head was supposed to be top shelf meat. I saw a sign the other day. It said, now serving boar heads. And I was like, wait a second. I think that they outlawed that meat. I don't even think you're supposed to be selling that, sir. They did. They said they were shutting it down for good, didn't they? I hope so, because God knows. I gotta go find food. I keep talking. I gotta go find food. It's because I'm hungry. I hope y'all have a good afternoon. Y'all be safe out there. We might talk later tonight. I literally am so stressed. I don't even know what to do with I'm just trying to be practical and think ahead. Yeah. You know, the crazy thing is, though, if I was putting needles in my arms, I wouldn't be going through any of these financial difficulties. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? That's what happens when you good for yourself, your future, your kids, your life. Society takes a shit on you and says, fuck you. We wanted you to be a drug addict. That's what you were. That's what you are. No, I'm not. I haven't been for a long time. And actually, I probably would have got clean at 18 and stayed clean if I would have had the right guidance. You know. But we'll talk about all of that another day. I love you guys. Thank you for coming. Peterson stuff. Please pray for the mother and the 2 children that went over Niagara Falls. Please pray for all of the children that we have out here being slaughtered like sheep in the name of money. And we'll talk soon. Pray for me because I need it and I'm praying for y'all.